Here's how to import your Facebook ads data on Google Sheets. And it is super simple. The first step is installing a Google Sheets add-on. In this case, I will install Metrics. So I will go to install and I will go to continue. And I will connect my Google account to give access to Metrics. I will grant permissions to Porter to access my Google account. And I will click on next, done. And we have installed this extension or Google Sheets add-on to import our marketing data. The next step is opening a new Google Sheets and going to extensions. And on extensions, you will find the Power Metrics extension and you will go to launch. On launch, we are launching our new Google Sheets add-on that we can use to import our marketing data, and we could pull data from TikTok, Twitter, LinkedIn, GA4, HubSpot, Shopify, and more. But for this tutorial, we are connecting Facebook ads. So I will click on Facebook ads and I will connect a new Facebook profile. So here, I will click on new profile and connect a new account. The next step is connecting my Facebook profile. This says reconnect because I have done this several times. So I will go to reconnect, got it, and we have connected our Facebook profile to Metrics so I can pull my data from the Facebook ads accounts associated to that personal profile. The next step to create my query will be give a name to my query. I will call it campaign performance, and this is important because eventually I will show you how to schedule refreshes of your reports or your data updates automatically. So I will give a name, campaign performance. The next step is choosing my Facebook profile. Remember, you could connect multiple Facebook profiles on your Metrics account, and this matters because eventually you want to connect a Facebook ads account data that your profile doesn't have access to, but someone else does. So this person can connect their Facebook profile, and you could also pull the data from their accounts. Now, the next step is connecting my Facebook ad accounts. And this is interesting. If you run an agency with multiple clients or you have a company with multiple brands, you could create a query combining the data of multiple accounts in a single report. That's amazing. For this report, for instance, I will combine the data of 2 Facebook ad accounts. The next step is the settings that you can leave as default. This is the option for the 99% of the times, but if you want to change your conversion windows and so on, this is the place where you can do it. I won't do it. I will leave it as it is, as default. And the next step is choosing a date range. You could visualize your data from the last month, from the last day, from the last year, and so on. You can actually also choose a specific date range. For this exercise, I am doing it with the last month data. So with last month, the next step is choosing the data I want to visualize. And to create a query, I will choose metrics and dimensions. Metrics are numbers like CTR, ad spend, custom conversions, CPM, clicks, and so on. Dimensions are the way I break down my data. So I want to visualize my clicks, metrics, by campaign or by platform or by audience or by region or by creative and so on. Dimensions is how you break down your data. Metrics display as columns and dimensions display as rows. So here for this query, I am bringing my clicks and my ad spend, and I want to break down this data by campaign name and by publisher platform. And publisher platform means Facebook or Instagram or Messenger. I want to break down by platform to see where I need to locate my budget. Now, then I will go to create report and I will have imported successfully my data, my Facebook ads data on Google Sheets. And this data is useful. I can see campaign name, publisher platform, I am seeing my metrics, clicks, ad spend, and so on. But this data is hard to read and I want to analyze it. I will show you some ways to analyze your data and then I will show you more ways to do it. But first, I want to do something. I want to automate this process. I don't want to create this query anymore. I want to schedule refreshes of this data so it is always up to date. So the next step is I will go to the query I just created. Remember that we named it campaign performance, and I will go to schedule. On schedule, I will turn on this automation and I will set a frequency. I can refresh this data every hour, day, or every week. I will choose daily as frequency. And finally, I will choose how I want to import this data. I want to overwrite the original data, or I want to append it. If I want to overwrite, I will remove the original data and I will use the new refresh. But if I want to append, the new data will show in new rows of my Google Sheets. I actually prefer this option because I want to save my historical data. So I will go to next, I will go to turn on, and now we have installed or we have automated this Facebook ads report. Every day, this data will refresh. We're almost done. I have shown you how to connect your Facebook ads data, but how to analyze it. This is the next step. I will show you three ways: with pivot tables, with formulas, and then with conditional formatting. But that's for another tutorial that is more specific. But the next step is just to give you a snapshot. I will select all my cells of my raw data. When you think of Google Sheets, you think of two kinds of sheets: raw data, which is the backend data, and the front-end sheets, where you can visualize your data. And front-end, I will show you what I mean with this. So I will go to format, and on format, I will go to pivot table. And next, in this pivot table, I can actually visualize my data. This is not the raw data, it's where I can visualize it, and it is easier to read for my team or my clients. So here with this pivot table, I don't want to see all the data I have exported because it is not easy to read. I only want to visualize my data by publisher platform, and I want to visualize my metrics, my clicks, and my ad spend. Here, I have a table where I am breaking down my clicks and ad spend by publisher platform, where I can easily read that Facebook and Instagram are taking most of my budget. But I want to change my analysis. So here, I will change, instead of publisher platform, I will do it with campaign name. Now I am breaking down my data with campaign name. And pivot tables are great because I didn't need to create a new query for having them. I could actually bring a lot of raw data, and then with pivot tables, I can analyze it, I can aggregate it, sort it, and, and so on. This is beautiful. Pivot tables are the best way to analyze your data. I will show you another way that you already know. I will select all my cells, and I will go to insert and click on charts. And I can also visualize charts. So there are more ways to analyze your data. I have pivot tables, I have charts, I can also have conditional formatting that I won't show you in this tutorial, but you could highlight with colors your metrics as well. But I will continue with another way to analyze your data, which I think is the most common one, because when you want to create cross-channel reports, when you don't only want your Facebook but your Google data, this is the best way to do it. Is I will create a new chart, a new sheets, and with these new sheets, I will create a formula. And with these formulas, I can pull the data of my raw data, of my actual sheets. Here, for instance, I am selecting my metrics of my raw data, and I can pull my raw data in a different sheet where I can use formulas to pull the data here and aggregate it here. This is the most common way, I will say, because for this formula, I am bringing Facebook ads data. For the next formula, I bring Google ads data, and so on. This is better for cross-channel reporting and more complex marketing reports. But I want to show you other ways to connect and analyze your Facebook ads data on Google Sheets. Okay, you already know how to connect your Facebook ads data to Google Sheets, but I wanted to spend some time to show you your possibilities with it. In a nutshell, to connect your Facebook ads data, you have four ways. With Google Sheets like Power Metrics, automation tools like Zapier or Make, web scraping tools, and CSV, which is manual. And to analyze your data, we have also four ways. Built-in tools like pivot tables, conditional formatting formulas. You can connect your data to visualization tools like Power BI or Looker Studio. We can set Slack or Gmail alerts with tools like Zapier, and we can leverage templates to speed up your reporting. But let me go through every one of these possibilities that you have to analyze your marketing data with Sheets. First, remember you have four ways to connect your marketing data or your Facebook ads data to Google Sheets. One, Google Sheets add-on like Power Metrics, automation tools like Zapier or Make, web scraping tools like Bardeen, and CSV files, which are manual. Let me show you the advantages and disadvantages of each. First, Power Metrics is better for reporting and analytics, not for automation. And why this is important? For instance, one of the advantages is granularity. If you want to break down your data and filter it and access and create flexible queries, marketing data analytics is better with a Google Sheets add-on, because a Google Sheets add-on has more access to, or it is easier to pull your data. Also, it is easier to pull your historical data from Facebook ads on Google Sheets. You can say, hey, I can try it on Zapier or Make, but no. Those tools are limited on your historical data, and Zapier cannot let you aggregate your data for analytics. You can only aggregate it for events. That's abstract, but I encourage you to try Zapier to make marketing reports, and you will understand what I say. Another important thing is that we have integrations to track our competitors. For instance, you want to track what your competitors on Instagram and Facebook are doing. We have tools for that, and that's something that these Zapier or Make don't have today enabled. But let's talk about the advantages of Zapier and Make to create your marketing reports. First, they work differently. They work based on triggers based on events. So if this happens, then do this. For instance, with Facebook lead ads. If someone fills a form on Facebook ads, please send it to Google Sheets. So it is more instant than Power Metrics. Power Metrics updates every hour the data, but here is instant because it is triggered based on a real-time automation. That's why I say Zapier and Make are better for automating work, but not for analytics. And even though Make has some analytics capabilities, I encourage you to try to create a marketing report with it, and you will see that it is a little bit harder to do it. And also consider this. Sometimes when you create reports and you do analytics stuff, you have a lot of data. Consider when you want to analyze a year of data. The pricing of Make and Zapier is based on tasks. So every single metric, every single order, every single event that you want to analyze is charged. You pay for that for those on Zapier and Make. With tools like Metrics, you only pay for queries in general, regardless of the amount of data that you're using. And finally, granularity. If you want to break down your data, you want to clean it, you want to do things with it, it is way harder. And finally, a very creative tool for me, or a very creative way for me to connect your Facebook ads data and general your data to Google Sheets is with web scraping. And I think it is the best option when there is no API available for that. I will give you some examples. Sometimes Instagram data is not available on the API. Stories took a lot of time to get into the API, so people could not get the statistics from their stories. LinkedIn profiles, personal profiles, you cannot have access via API to that data. And also, TikTok is taking a lot of time to release their API. So when there is no API, I think web scraping is a beautiful way to collect your marketing data. You could do something like this with Bardin or tools for web scraping. You can say, hey, every 24 hours, I want you to scan this TikTok profile or this LinkedIn profile, and then store that data, store those followers in these Google Sheets. That's another way to collect your marketing data. Maybe it is a little bit harder, but I think it is better when there is no API available for that, and when there is no connection or so. I think this is a beautiful way to collect data. And finally, it is CSV, which is manual, but I won't go through this because we don't do manual things, okay? Now, I will give you a context on how to analyze your Facebook ads data on Sheets. And this is important because I will show you possibilities that you can do with Google Sheets and your marketing data. First, when thinking of analysis on Google Sheets and marketing data, think of software. You have backend sheets and you have frontend sheets. That's nerd, but let me explain. Backend sheets is where you pull your raw data from Power Metrics. Is what I showed you in the exercise. And this data is useful, but you cannot analyze it. It is not easy to read. It is not for the end user. And there are also front-end sheets where is the data that people can read, where there are dashboards, there are pivot tables, there are colors. So the first table is the raw data, the source of the data, which is super important. And this data feeds the front-end sheets where you analyze this data with pivot tables, with custom formulas, with charts, with conditional formats. When you analyze your data, you need both kind of sheets. So remember that. Don't edit your original data source because it will corrupt your data. That's why I wanted to show you these ways to analyze it. It says 3 ways, but you can see that there are more. Also, once your data is on Google Sheets, your data is everywhere. Once you connect your marketing data in Google Sheets, you can do anything with that, and I will give you 4 ideas to use your Facebook ads data in Google Sheets. First, you can sync and connect your Google Sheets data on a Canva presentation or a Google Slides presentation. So if you are doing a client presentation or a monthly meeting with your team, you can pull your data automatically from Sheets on these presentations. That's a great idea to create real-time slides. And another way, which I think is the most popular, is connecting your Google Sheets to Google Looker Studio or Microsoft Power BI to create real-time interactive reports and dashboards. Sheets to me is mostly to do monitoring, internal monitoring, and analyzing data. But if you want to present your data with dashboards, Google Looker Studio and Power BI are way better options than Google Sheets. Also, you can connect Google Sheets with Zapier or Make to enable real-time alerts and notifications. So, for instance, every time you can set email or Slack alerts when you have for your daily summary of followers on Instagram, something like that, or for your weeklies of summaries of conversion data from GA4. You can say on Zapier, every time I have a new row of data, please send it to Zapier and Gmail with a summary. And finally, with Code Interpreter and ChatGPT, you could connect your Google Sheets data to get summaries, analysis, to get AI to analyze your data and to create summaries. This is an idea that I will explore in other tutorials. That's why I encourage you to subscribe to Power Metrics. What about if you connect your Facebook ads data on Sheets, then you connect Zapier, then you connect OpenAI, and you request it to create a summary or an analysis of your past week performance of marketing and send that analysis on Slack to your marketing team. That's an idea of the endless possibilities that you have by connecting your Facebook ads data on Google Sheets. If you want to learn to do these things, if you want to learn to connect your data to Canva for presentations or to create reports on Looker Studio or to create alerts with Slack and Gmail or to use ChatGPT with your marketing data, subscribe to this channel and I hope that you have liked this tutorial on how to connect your Facebook ads data to Google Sheets.